Welcome back to the Morning Blend. A book is, of course, a great gift, especially if you know what the person on your list likes or if you have a pro helping you with the selection. Carole Barrowman is what I would call a professional reader. She reads more and faster than anyone I know. She's also a book reviewer for the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel and an English professor at El Verno College. Always great to see you, Carole.
It's great, and I love to be on a segment plugging books for gifts.
I love it.
Spend your money on a book.
Do you ever give anything but books as gifts?
Yeah, I do, but I think everybody on my list gets a book, at least one, sometimes more. And my kids always knew that when we'd go into a bookstore, if they wanted a book, I could never say no to them.
That's cute.
I know.
I have a hard time passing up that request too.
Yeah, it's really
I like
tough.
that.
Yep.
All right, let's talk about some things that make great gifts, because these are outside of what I would consider the typical norm, but really fun gifts that I think a lot of people would like. Starting with adult coloring books.
So I brought mine actually with me. This is Enchanted Forest. It's a wonderful series. You know, a lot of us who have a lot of thinking to do on our job, it's really nice to have a coloring book. And I'm just going to open this. This is the page I was working on yesterday. I am not an artist, but I find this very calming and a way to sort of spark my creativity. So when I'm working on a book or working on some of my own writing, I always have a coloring book right on my table, and they're hugely popular right now.
My daughter has one that's paisley.
Yes.
So it's not animals and creatures from the forest, but it's paisley, and she does the coolest colors. In fact, we're going to frame one of them because it's so neat, and it really allows kids to kind of have a little time to think and create and draw. I love those kinds of books.
I know, and the other thing that's really good right now is you can get coloring books that are for your favorite TV show. So like there's a Game of Thrones coloring book, which I think would be kind of awesome.
Yeah.
I skimmed through that one, and I thought that would be fun. So maybe more of an adult coloring book. But how beautiful, and what a nice way to sort of just pass the time. You know, my mom used to knit, and so I never learned how to knit, so I color.
That's cool. And there's a Harry Potter one, I know you said.
There's a Harry Potter one. Oh, I think I've seen online now, almost every TV show has its own coloring book.
That's
or every
really cool.
series of books, and which I think is wonderful. Yeah.
This next idea, I've seen some graphic novels, but I've never seen a book that kind of comes apart like this one. This is what you would call a coffee table book.
This is a coffee table book, and it comes. And
this whole thing
is
on the table is the book. Okay, all the parts of this are one book.
Yep, it is called Building Stories, and this is the box that it comes in, and it's by Chris Ware, and he won a number of awards. He's a very famous comic book writer and graphic artist. But this is actually the story of a building, and if we look at this back card, this comes with the book, and it's like a game board, but it's of the building, and so
There's even like plans on the back of like part of this where you can see like the sketch of the building inside. And then you open it like this.
And so then you get all of these parts that are all stories that then relate to people in the building, and you can follow them, and you get this little book that's about this young woman, and you can start anywhere. And you get you can build your own stories, and you can build your own stories about the building, build your own stories about the people that live in the building. What I like about it is it's like the ultimate interactive book, but it's not digital.
Yes, absolutely. One thing I will say about this is it's definitely an adult book. There's some nudity in it. It's not super graphic. It's also adult situations, like there's a couple sitting down at the table trying to pay bills. There's another situation where the couple are about to be intimate, and she feels self-conscious about her body and has recently had a friend die. So the content could be a little bit heavier, but there's some lighter things in it too. So it's fun, but it also has some adult themes to it.
Absolutely, and in fact, I probably would say 17 and up for sure for this. But what's wonderful about it is you could look at this over and over again. My son Turner gave this to me for my Christmas last year, and I don't think I've even tapped into close to 50% of the stories in this, and it's just beautiful. Can you imagine?
Really unique. And then it all folds up and goes back into the box. But what a way to spend some time and enjoy reading and putting stories together. Next is a nostalgic book.
I think, you know, if you have someone in your family that you can't think of what to get, find their time period where they were born, when they were born, and sort of pick a book from that period. I love this series. So this is Everything I Need to Know I Learned from Little Golden Books. Do you remember those?
Yeah, totally do.
Right, with the little
That's
foil
awesome.
covers and everything.
I like that. It's a play on that everything I ever needed to learn, I learned, or no, I learned in kindergarten.
Yes, and so the wonderful thing about this is the advice is very sort of 50s advice, and it's very cute. But the book is wonderful, and that would also be a nice coffee table book, but it sort of triggers your nostalgia. And Golden Books used to be published in Racine.
Oh, I didn't know that they were local. Okay,
Yep.
interesting. That's fun.
Yep. So that's also a good choice. And then maybe you could give a couple of Golden Books with it.
Yeah, that's cute. I like the way you pair books sometimes with things too. The last one is food books. I think this is a great one, especially if you find kind of the right book about food. Sometimes it'll be like pairing beer with food, or sometimes it'll be making cakes if you've got a baker in your life. Or
well, this book is The Art of Eating is actually considered one of the classics and one of the very first books to be written about cooking and eating. And the nice thing is this is a series of essays. It involves what it means, sort of the aesthetic of eating and why eating is important to us as human beings, why it's important to us it builds friendships. And this writer is amazing. M.K.M. Fisher is the author of this, and she was one of the very first writers of food articles and so on. The images are great. If you know someone who is a foodie or a gourmet chef, this is the book for them, because it's about really the art of eating, the art of enjoying food. It's more than a recipe book, which is often what we give at Christmas.
I agree. Yeah, and you can do a lot more. That's also a great one about different cocktails using fresh ingredients. I mean, it goes on and on. But a great idea. I love it. The adult coloring book, the coffee table book that's got all the different sections. We talked about the nostalgic books as well as food books. You can find that great list and more about Carole if you visit her website. It's carolebarrowman.com. She's also on Facebook, Twitter, and Goodread?
Goodread.
Or Goodreads.
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 Yes.
That's where you can find her. Thank you so much, Carole.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.